That story begins in the Sandhill country to the north of Adelaide and moves then to the lush greenery of southern Victoria. And we pick up the story in present time, and that of course his story starts in England. We pick up the story in Melbourne and introduce the star, Archer Clive Jenkins, aged 86 years. It's March 1976 as he returns from an afternoon stroll in the sun. Time passes slowly for one who's been so active. Bit of a scan through the daily paper, keeping up with the events of the day. But we're interested in events of past days, and we have here the king of storytellers. Oh, he loves to tell yarns, and they go right back into the days when he first came to Australia. And, well, how about it, Dad? Would you like to cast your mind back now into those days, perhaps when you first arrived in Adelaide? Would you like to tell us that in your own words?
Aboard the ship, I was thinking about jumping ship, getting out of it and stopping in Adelaide. So anyway, that night, me and the mate, we jumped. Took a few belongings and sold them, and there we was in Melbourne, in Adelaide. And the first thing we had to do was to find a job. I got friendly with a barman in one of the hotels, and he laid me on to where I could get a job on the station. And so I went around and seen them, and sure enough, I got a job. I had to go 800 miles away up to a place called Farida by train, and then go out 25 miles to the station. And when I got out there, they were shearing, and my job was as a rouseabout, picking up wool. Anyway, things went all right. And when they cut out, I had to go to a place called Ediacara. That's about 40 miles away. Belonging to the same firm. I went through the same thing. But unfortunately, they had no cook. And the boss asked me about the cooking. So I upped the ad because I hadn't done it for a big crowd of men like that. And so they got the teamster's wife to take on the cooking. But she didn't last 24 hours. The first lot of bread she made had kerosene in it. So that was the end of her. So anyway, the boss's wife took on the cooking then, and I got the job of carrying it down from what they call it, the government house, the boss's house, down to the shearer's quarters. And when that job cut out, we went back over the same track to a station called Witcherina. And there we done a scouring the wool with pot sticks, so they get all the dirt out of the wool. And when that job cut out, I went back into Farida. And then after a few days in Farida, I got a job back on the Ediacara station where it had already been, the people named Bosworth. And one of the first jobs he gave me to do when I got there was to go out and get a ration sheep. So he said, I said, where will I find one? Oh, he said, up the fence. Straight up the fence there, he said. So away I went on this horse, way up the fence there, and I went up and down the blooming fence, and I couldn't see any blooming sheep. And then I had to go back, and the boss said, look, where's the sheep? So I said, I couldn't find one. Where was he? Tied up to the fence? And he left like blazes, and he said, I expected to bring a flock of sheep in. So that was all right. And eventually, he got me to take some rams
away up to Baltimore West station, which was owned by the same people. And on the way, it rained. And going over the sand hills, with women sheep, and galloped down the other side, and through the water, and up the other sand hill, standing on the other side. And when they got to Bush Valley, where we stopped the night, we went on the next day in a stony country. And quite a lot of the sheep lost their hoofs. They got burnt off with the hot sand and the wet. Anyway, I had a bit of a row with the boss over that lot and decided to pull out. So I get down to Adelaide with a large sum of £13, which I had saved. I'd taken the wages was £1 a week in your sheep. Anyway, from there on, I heard that there was going to be start the East-West Railway. So I went up to Port Augusta, and there were hundreds of men there waiting for the same thing, expecting the line to start any day. And then arrived a coastal ship called the Yarra with a load of sleepers, and we all got a job. Unloaded these sleepers off the ship. But we was on the wharf, stacking them. The wharfers, they was getting 12 shillings a day, we was getting 8. So they went on strike for us to get the 12 shillings, which we eventually did. But the job lasted 3 days. And as they paid us, the police was standing alongside and ordered the whole damn lot of us out of the town within 24 hours.
Well, Father's stories certainly take an elegant turn, and I'm sure that the sequel to that story is well worth our listening to. And he continues to tell the story there. We're just going to take a small aside there for a moment, because this is just one of the many stories that Dad has to tell, and his life has been full of such adventure. And we find a great delight in relating some of these yarns. Father has a delight too. He loves to potter about in the garden. And here we find him taking a little time off now to scratch about with the hoe, trim up a little here and there. Oh, he would have been a great buccaneer in his time. So let's leave him to his little pleasure there at the moment. I'm sure that he's got more yarns to tell, but right now he seems to be just a little preoccupied, so let's just leave him with it and see what happens. Well, now the scene changes, and we find Dad relaxing after the work in the garden and having a bit of a chat with young Trudy, our little Dachshund puppy. And he certainly seems to be enjoying her company. And so the day draws to a close, and now we join the family group gathered around Grandad and enjoy the pleasure of his company in the family circle.
When they were bagpipes going around with it, popping beer. And did you see it run around with a big ball tonight? Did you see it with a ball tonight?
I was at a party.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
There you go.
What happened?
So you had a great game with a ball. Yeah. That's what it takes. Yeah.
Tonight I went to a party.
You had a cat.
Oh, but having to get him again. He doesn't appeal to him, Liz. He didn't like the thunderstorm last night. Oh, no.
Can you get in the picture?
Yeah, I thought I'd
Why not?
Yeah, you're going to have a thing.
Could have the dummy.
I don't get it.
How do you like his look?
Yeah,
Lovely.
You just need a haircut. That's what it is. You need a haircut.
Well, all right.
Think I like it a bit long.
There we go.
Oh,
Bit left by there.
yeah. Yeah, bit short. I
Let
think
go.
it's very like yours. See, that's the same.
Look how much grey hair on mine.
Colour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I haven't got this bit here, though.
Oh, no, you did look. You suit you. Well, you tried it once, didn't you?
Yeah.
Stay.
And so the evening passes with Grandad and Sadie, Louise and Yvette, and myself and Trudy, and Faye the Siamese cat. And then it's time for the kids to go off to bed. And our father, that's me this time, has an opportunity to indulge in one of his favourite pastimes. In making this film, I've chosen Banjo Patterson's Horse and Matilda as the theme music for the film. As all the music has run in the family for many years, it's sort of not inappropriate to play this music on the organ. And so we hope that you enjoy the background music.
birthday pledge. Eh? From one line to the other, the parliamentarians to drive up to inspect the country. Eh? But there were two parties. One party went from that end and one from this end, and we never actually met.
Good.
Yeah.
You got that thing going? You went
No, no. We got starved out for Tucker. The bus never came.
Oh.
The Tucker. So I went to look for this other camp. I knew that he wasn't very far away from him. And I went to look for him to get Tucker. And after a lot of maneuvering through the bush, I eventually found where they'd been working, where the road was they'd made. So I said, which way is their camp? That way or that way? So I took this way. And I came to a dead end. They'd knocked up and gone back for Tucker. down to Tully. Tully on the Ridderoo line, see? So there was no camp there. And all there was a bit of dry bread they'd chucked away before they went back. and a big slab of broiler bacon where they cut the bacon off and left it up the eye, you know. So I lit a fire and I grilled that on the blooming fire and ate it nasty dry bread.
Mum arrived in Melbourne, and so we now give you back to Dad as he takes us down to the wharf.
By the time I get down there to the wharf, I suppose the boat ought to be just about in. As it happened, it's foggy. It's supposed to be late. But anyway, at last they come alongside us, the wharf. And oh, Lord, all the people looking over the side of the ship, there's no hope of seeing anybody at all. No hope at all. Well, things might turn out all right. At last they come down the gangway. What a treat it was to meet them all. There was Ali and Bill and the two children and Grace. The way we went in the Gerry, we got a Gerry, which is a carriage out here, and drove up to the side of the railway station. And outside the railway station, we got one of the old trams that took us up to the hotel where I was stopping, and where I hope to come back to after we get married. Anyway, we gets on this old tram, gets up to the hotel, and then after a little while, we had a little bit of a chit chat with the lady that run the hotel, and she made all the arrangements for a taxi and everything to take us to get married. I'd got a special license, and we had to go out to a place called Fitzroy, which is in a suburb of Melbourne, and we were married in the vicarage. And the poor old parson, before he do the ceremony, he had to count the notes first. Anyway, it all came off all right. And away we goes back to the hotel. We had a few hours to put in. So anyway, the ring happened to be a bit too big, and Bill and I went a bit of a walk and went back to the shop where I got a change. And came back, and we had a little bit of a reception, and it was time then to get down to the railway station. As the train left at 5 o'clock, and we had I think it's something like about 400 people. We arrived at Redcliffe, and we caught another little train then out to Carawina, where we were met by a friend of mine who I'd been working for, named Mr. Cooley. And he took us in his car to another friend of mine who had a wheat block, and they were good enough to supply us with dinner. After dinner, we all got into the car, Mr. Feeney's car, and away we go, he said, into the never, 15 miles out into the bush, where I don't think anybody's ever been before. And there we settled down then for the night into this shack which I had built. We had no house, there was no houses out there, you had to build a little shack of your own, which I had already built. Anyway, everything went all right that night, but during the night, it rained. We had 3 inches of rain. And, and unfortunately, we had no iron on the roof. And the roof was roofed over for the hot weather. And the rain come through and just about washed us all out.
Well, that's the end of the yarn, and his father now heads himself off into his little flat. We change scene now because time has now elapsed, and we find father unfortunately in hospital to celebrate his 87th birthday, and this along with the rest of the gang from the ward. So we leave him struggling into the flat there in the usual humorous way, and take you now to the ward for the celebrations as Dad turns 87.
Yeah, puppy.
Put it down a little bit, so whoa, Bobby.
No, you cut it.
Wait a minute. Say a few words. On the behalf of the staff and the kitchen of this ward, we wish you happy birthday. Come on now. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Auntie. Happy birthday to you. Victory! Victory! Victory!
Thank you all for
Just look like the skiing and all. Doug over there. Behind you. Yeah, go on, Doug. Turn around. Yep, there. Hold it. Happy birthday, Dad.
Hey.
I say happy birthday.
Yeah.
All the best. Now, you got to say a few words for us. Now, you got to say a few words for us. Have a say.
What was that?
No, have a say. Have a chat.
Say something. Say something.
Yeah.
And so the birthday celebrations go on, tinged with a note of sadness as Dad, suffering impaired hearing and not able to take part so much in the celebrations, failing eyesight, and I think just a little look of bewilderment as his family and friends gather round to celebrate his 87th birthday with him. This was to be his last birthday with us. And as he looks about him now, wondering just what it's all about, let's go back to the family and friends who join him in this, what was to be his last birthday celebration.
Well, they really looked after him today.
There's that serviette again out of there.
Wait, here's tissue. That's better.
You don't all have to stop talking, you know. There you go. There's a bit of your cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have a bit, please. Yeah, I'll have that bit with the cherry on the top.
Oh, that's like Valerie. I've had mine.
Right.
Valerie took one.
Yeah, might get a bit now.
One more each. Ladies.
Yeah, it's warm in here with that light going.
Yeah. It's not cold in here.
Yeah, that's one.
Like the sun, bottle of sunlight.
That's one under the light here, under the camera. That you was born on this day.
Yeah, 7th of November, 1889.
At what time?
I don't know.
Well, there's one thing that you forgot in your statistics, you see.
You can talk too.
Yes, well, this is the bloke that schemed it all. Doug over there, behind you. Yeah, come on, Doug, turn round. Doug, come on. Yeah. You can talk.
She'll have it ready for the next day.
That's the Frankston Swampy, that is.
Yeah, that's right.
You can see Frankston Swampy there.
Yeah, that's right.
Fair enough.
Who's hungriest? Yeah, a vet's hungry. A vet will help you,
Oh, it's beautiful.
We don't have any garbage disposal now.
don't you?
We don't need it.
Hey, fella, get a look at that pretty camera. Get a nice picture, will you? Ah, yeah.
She's got a drunk tooth, Uncle Les.
No.
You freeze up.
I better bet you.
You come in.
I can't get in with them. Just don't talk to me, talk to them.
You've got to go in now.
Yeah.
Say something intelligent. Say something intelligent.
You saw his card, didn't you?
No. Oh, the card, yeah. I'll bring it over. No,
Yeah.
all the names in it. Must be all the pictures. Probably is.
Yeah. I think the staff.
Sister stuff.
Yeah. And the two.
Daily, like Keith. It was pretty good. Come on, Fatty. No, is it camera showed you?
No. I can't pass you one across.
Who's the camera show?
Shoot boy. Camera.
Oh, yeah, well, it is.
What are you flapping about?
He wants us to talk.
We can't even need to talk about it.
And so we leave Dad now in the hospital. And shortly he returns home to us. But he has much time to think and much to think about. He reflects upon past days, and I'm sure that many things go through his mind during these months that pass. When we come now to March, 12 months have elapsed since the start of this film, and another sunset to mark the ending of a day. There have been many days and Dad looking out into the world reflects upon the many days. As he walks towards us, unfortunately, he walks out of our life. All life has ending. And Dad, although we would like that he may have gone on forever, he too, as must we all, eventually succumbs to the rigours of a hard life. And we join now with family and friends in sadness for the last journey that he may take with us along the familiar roads that he has known in later life. But this time he doesn't see the traffic and the following cortege, for now he sleeps. He sleeps the well-earned rest of those who have worked so hard. And we follow behind with our thoughts. And the thoughts are not of bitterness or sadness. We think of those days when these scenes passed before his eyes. Because we must remember, he loved the bush, he loved the land, he loved the things around him. And many a time he's stood across from these gates when he sold flowers to the other sufferers of the same sadness we now suffer. Many times he stood beside these gates, and now for the last time he passes through them. Life has been a very full one for Dad. I don't think he viewed this day with great sadness. But as we now join with those who've come to mourn his passing, family and friends, and those who are closest to him, his grandchildren and great-grandchildren, they come now to this last resting place to pay their last respects to this grand old man who meant so much to so many. Let us join them.
Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, in sure and certain hope of the resurrection to eternal life, through our Lord Jesus Christ, who shall change our mortal body, that it may be like his glorious body, by that power which enables him to subject all things to himself. They shall never again feel hunger or thirst, The sun shall not beat on them, nor any scorching heat, because the Lamb who is at the heart of the throne will be their shepherd and will guide them to the springs of the water of life. And God will wipe away all tears from their eyes.
And the flowers that he loved all his life, and the family, little Fan, his niece, Connie and Bill, pay their last respects. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, we shall remember them.